The sun was barely up, painting the Nebraska sky in streaks of pink and gold, when I heard the rumble of heavy machinery tearing through my land. My boots sank into the dewy grass as I sprinted toward the noise, the smell of freshly turned earth hitting me like a punch. There it was, a bulldozer, chugging and belching smoke, carving a wide, ugly scar right through the middle of my soybean field. At the edge of the chaos stood Karen Mitchell, arms crossed, her bleach blonde hair gleaming under a wide-brimmed hat, smirking like she'd just won the lottery. The Homeowners Association president had decided my farm, my family's farm, tilled by my grandparents' calloused hands, was her personal shortcut to the new subdivision. She ruled like a queen. She'd built a driveway across my property without so much as a phone call. My blood boiled, my fists clenched, and I swear the air crackled with the promise of a fight. I'd known Karen for years, ever since she moved into the gated community bordering my 40 acres. She was the kind of woman who'd send you a fine for a crooked mailbox or a blade of grass an inch too tall. Her voice, sharp as a razor, could cut through a town hall meeting, demanding stricter rules, cleaner sidewalks, more power. But this? This was war. She hadn't just crossed a line, she'd paved it, poured concrete over my livelihood, my heritage, my home. I stormed up to her, my breath hot and ragged. "Karen, what the hell is this?" I shouted, pointing at the gray slab slicing my field in two. She didn't flinch, just tilted her head, her lips curling into that smug, practiced smile. "Oh, Tom, don't be dramatic. The Homeowners Association voted. We needed a faster route to the highway. Your little farm was in the way." Her words dripped with condescension, like I was a child who didn't understand progress. I wanted to scream, to shake her, but I swallowed it down, tasting bile. "You didn't ask me," I said, my voice low, trembling. She shrugged. "Eminent domain, darling. Look it up." I spent that night pacing my creaky porch, the crickets' hum drowned out by the roar in my head. My farm wasn't just land, it was my dad teaching me to drive the tractor, his laugh echoing over the fields, it was my mom's hands, stained green from shucking corn, it was me, a kid, chasing fireflies under a sky so big it felt like God's own canvas. Karen didn't see that. To her, it was just dirt to pave over. I called my lawyer, a grizzled old man named Hank who'd known my family since I was in diapers. His voice crackled through the phone, heavy with exhaustion. "Tom, she's got the Homeowners Association board in her pocket, and they're claiming public benefit. It's a long fight, and it ain't cheap." I slammed my fist on the table, the coffee mug rattling. "Then what do I do, Hank? Let her win?" He sighed, long and heavy, like he was carrying my pain too. "You don't let her win. You fight smart." The next morning, I woke to the sound of gravel crunching under tires. Not Karen's pristine SUV, but a beat-up pickup, its red paint peeling like sunburned skin. Out stepped Lila, a woman I hadn't seen in years. She was my high school sweetheart once, before life pulled us apart, me to the farm, her to a city job and a divorce that left her eyes harder than I remembered. She wore a flannel shirt, sleeves rolled up, and her boots were caked with mud. "Heard about your trouble," she said, her voice soft but steady, like the wind before a storm. "Figured you could use a friend." I didn't know why she was back, or why now, but the sight of her, familiar, fierce, carrying a toolbox and a glint in her eye, felt like a lifeline. We sat on the porch, sipping bitter coffee, and I spilled everything. Karen, the driveway, the HOA's iron grip. Lila listened, her fingers tracing the rim of her mug, her jaw tightening. "She's a bully," she said finally. "And bullies don't stop unless you make them." Days bled into weeks, and the driveway sat there, a smug monument to Karen's power. Every time I walked past it, the concrete seemed to mock me, its smooth surface gleaming under the sun. I tried legal routes, filed complaints, dug up property records, even pleaded with the county. Nothing worked. Karen had the system wired, her connections deeper than my roots in this soil. My anger grew, a slow burn that kept me up at night, my heart pounding like a drum. Lila stayed, though, showing up every morning with her toolbox and a plan. She wasn't just here for me, she had her own score to settle. Turns out, Karen had run her out of town years ago, spreading rumors that cost Lila her job at the local co-op. "She doesn't just take what's yours," Lila said one evening, her voice barely above a whisper as we watched the sun sink. "She takes who you are." The idea came to me one night, as thunder rolled in and rain battered the windows. I couldn't rip up the driveway, not legally, not without a court order I'd never get. But I could make it useless. I could reclaim my land in a way Karen couldn't ignore. Lila's eyes lit up when I told her, a grin spreading across her face like wildfire. We spent the next day planning, whispering like conspirators, the air thick with the smell of rain-soaked earth and possibility. At dawn, we fired up my old backhoe, its engine coughing to life like an old man waking from a nap. The ground was soft from the storm, perfect for digging. We carved trenches, deep, jagged lines that split Karen's precious driveway into useless chunks. The concrete cracked under the strain, groaning like it was in pain. I felt a rush, a wild, reckless joy, as each scoop of dirt tore her victory apart. Karen showed up by noon, her SUV screeching to a stop. Her face was a storm cloud, her heels sinking into the mud as she stormed toward us. "What have you done?" she screamed, her voice cracking, tears welling in her eyes. I expected to feel triumph, but her tears hit me like a slap. For a moment, I saw her, not the homeowners association tyrant, but a woman unraveling, her perfect world crumbling. Then I remembered my field, my family, my home. "You built on my land," I said, my voice steady now, cold. "You didn't ask. You don't get to cry about it." Lila stood beside me, her hand brushing mine, a silent anchor. Karen's sobs echoed, but they didn't move me. She'd made her choice. The town exploded with gossip. Some called me a hero, others a vandal. The homeowners association tried to sue, but Lila had documented everything: property lines, permits, Karen's overreach. Hank worked his magic, and the county ruled in my favor, citing improper procedure. Karen's driveway was declared illegal, and she was fined for trespassing. She stood in court, her face pale, her hands shaking, as the judge read the verdict. The homeowners association board turned on her, desperate to save face, and she was voted out, her reign over. Last I heard, she'd sold her house and left town, her SUV packed with boxes, her hat nowhere in sight. I stood in my field weeks later, the trenches filled, the concrete gone. The soybeans were coming in strong, their green tips swaying in the breeze. Lila was there, her laughter soft as she tossed a pebble into the dirt. "You did it," she said, her eyes catching the sunlight. I shook my head. We did it. The air smelled of earth and second chances, and for the first time in months, I breathed easy. Justice wasn't just winning, it was standing on your own ground, knowing it was yours, and no one could take it away.